They all form one people and speak one language. This is only the beginning of their works, and whatever they imagine they will be able to accomplish. It will be better for us to go down, and there we will confuse their language so that they will not understand one another. Genesis 11 verses 1 to 9. Through oral traditions, the stories that the ancestors of tribes and peoples from all over the world have passed on to their descendants, forming part of the roots of their community. Stories abound all over the world that are similar about the creation of man, the biblical paradise of Adam and Eve, the universal flood, or the punishments of the gods who managed to disperse the population all over the planet and confuse their languages so that they could not understand each other. These myths may be inventions, elaborated by man to explain his concerns, but the existing coincidences between peoples thousands of kilometers away from each other are striking. A well-known myth that narrates the origin of the different languages of mankind is that of the construction of the Tower of Babel. In the Old Testament, specifically in the book of Genesis, which means origin, the following appears: the whole earth had the same language and used the same words. Settled in the region of Shinar, place of ancient Babylon, in Mesopotamia, man was capable of anything, and one day they said to one another, "Let us make bricks and bake them in the fire. Let us build a city with a tower that reaches to the sky. In this way we will become famous and avoid being scattered all over the earth." As they built it, Yahweh observed the feat and concluded, "They all form one people and speak one language. This is only the beginning of your deeds, and whatever you imagine you will be able to accomplish. It will be better for us to go down, and there we will confuse their language so that they will not understand one another. And from there Yahweh scattered them over the face of the earth, and they ceased to build the city. Therefore the name of Babel was given to it, because there Yahweh had confused the language of the whole earth." We do not know what exactly was the Tower of Babel and what it was for, but it is clear that the intervention of the gods put a stop to the capabilities of men to create whatever they wanted. Coincidentally, there are several legends around the world that try to explain the same thing but under different contexts. How to explain these similarities? Can they really be considered myths with the amount of testimonies there are? Let's see some examples. Greek traditions have a legend that tells that once upon a time man lived without cities or laws and spoke one language under the rules of Zeus, until Hermes appeared, known as the interpreter and divider of nations, who taught men different languages. Discord appeared among mortals, which caused Zeus discontent. There is a Sumerian myth that tells that there was a time when there was no snake, no scorpion, no lions, no hyenas, no dogs, and no wolves. There was no fear. Man had no rival. All the territories spoke one language under the rule of Enlil, until Enki appeared and changed the speech in the mouths of all who were there. In Bantu, Ethiopia, the Wasania people tell that in the beginning, all the peoples of the earth knew only one language, but during a period of famine, it made the people go crazy, mumbling strange words and making them wander in all directions. Different languages arose and separated men. In northern Myanmar, a tribe tells of a time when everyone lived in one big village and spoke the same language. And they decided to build a big tower. As they built it, they acquired different habits, customs, and ways of speaking, so they ended up dispersing. Also, a Hindu myth tells that in the center of the earth grew the world tree or tree of knowledge, so high that it almost reached the sky. The tree said to itself, "I will hold my head in the sky and spread my branches over the whole earth, gathering all men under my shade, protecting them and preventing them from separating." But the god Brahma, creator of the universe, to punish the pride of the tree, cut off its branches and punished men by bringing them down to earth, changing their language and customs and scattering them all over the planet. On the island of Hao, located in Polynesia, A story is told similar to that of the Tower of Babel, in which a god in anger drove away the builders of the tower, knocked it down, and made them speak different languages. In the Andaman Islands, in the Bay of Bengal, its inhabitants say that the language was given to them by the god Paluga, to the first man and the first woman, in their union after a great flood. They called this language Bajigyab Dash, which is the language spoken today in the south and southeast of Andaman. They say that the god Paluga dispersed them throughout the country, providing each group with a different dialect. In the Popol Vuh, a book that gathers the myths of the Quiche people of Guatemala, it narrates how the gods, upon realizing the capacities of the men they themselves had created, decide that it is necessary to limit the faculties of men, thus diminishing their pride. There will come a time when they will understand the same as the gods. So we are in time to avoid this danger and maintain the order of creation. The book also narrates how in the beginning there was only one language, and also how that language was divided into several and men dispersed. There are 3,000 to 5,000 languages spoken in the world. There are some incredible cases, such as Cameroon with 12 million inhabitants with 270 languages, or Nigeria with 450 languages. But the winner is Papua New Guinea, which with 7 million inhabitants can have 850 different languages. There are more extreme cases, such as the Miwok language in California or Yidni in Australia, spoken by only 4 and 12 people respectively. Leaving aside the controversial theory of evolutionism and the evolution of man's ability to create sounds, research by linguistic experts can be traced back to several parent languages from which today's languages evolved. But they do not find connections of these mother tongues with each other. Their structures do not have the same origin, which makes it difficult to prove the existence of a unique people and a common language. Everything suggests that these myths speak about a forgotten or censored capacity, which man enjoyed in the past: telepathy. If mankind in the past used telepathy as a form of communication, they could talk not only with each other but with any form of life, be it animals, plants, or rocks. The information of each man would be available to anyone. Hence, all men who inhabited the earth were considered one people. All were united by thought, by the same ideas and objectives. What was thought by one could be perceived by another in any part of the world. The human being is powerful when he is united in a group, while he becomes weak when he is separated from it. It has been scientifically proven that telepathy exists, and we use it in most cases spontaneously, without control and at a very basic level. Why did man lose this form of communication? Was there someone in the past who manipulated him, limiting his power? We only preserve the testimonies of ancestral cultures. It would be a mistake to ignore this evidence that we find throughout the world in different parts of the planet, which offer us different perspectives and perhaps complete the puzzle of one of the greatest mysteries of mankind. Will we ever recover our power?